Director Wood, Council members, esteemed professors, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I'm Davide Pacca, the International Relations Director of Regione Lombardia, and I am extremely honored to be here at this important symposium. I take here the message of the President of the region of Lombardy, who unfortunately, due to a very, very complex situation now in Milan, was not able to confirm his presence here. However, we would like to testify here today how important is this event and how important is for us the award that our new headquarters has been appointed. Allow me first to say a few words about the region I belong to, the institutions that promoted the realization of this project, the Lombardy region. In this slide, you can see the key points, the key factors of our regions. We have a population of 10 million people. We are a region with a strong economic system. We have over 800,000 companies and about 18,000 foreign companies. The GDP of Regione Lombardia is the 20% of the total GDP of our country, Italy. And the region of Lombardy is the leading region in Italy for external trade relations. These key factors are important because in this context was developed the project we are now presenting. In fact, in this context, when we decided to create a new headquarters in 2002, we thought of a building that summarizes the characteristics, the features of our territory. Palazzo Lombardia, the name chosen after a web consultancy with the citizens of the region, had to be evocative of the entire region, of its territory, its history, its values. So, with the assistance of a group of experts, architects, men and women of culture, intellectuals, we drafted a manifesto that contained guidelines, criteria that had to guide the architects participating in the international competition to design and to realize this building. On December 2003, we collected 98 candidacies, and we selected 10 main competitors. And on the 30th of April 2004, the project proposed by Pei Cobb Freed Partners studio from New York was declared the winner. The project of Palazzo Lombardia is the first project dedicated to create a new public palace after the Castello Sforzesco in the 15th century. You can see the Castello Sforzesco in the left part of the slide. This is our project is the first project that was born especially dedicated to create a public building. And another important feature is that in this project we insert for the first time the first civic square in Milan. Milan has also a religious square, but with Palazzo Lombardia, for the first time, the city was given its first large civic square, open to the public. Now, coming briefly to the area in which Palazzo Lombardia is located. This area is called Garibaldi Repubblica. It's an area very, very central, very, very close to the central station in Milan, and it's an area located between two historical districts of Milan. And but unfortunately, this area where the building is now located had been abandoned for more than half a century. So in our idea, and this was expressed in the manifesto, the project of this new building had to be a starting point, a focal point to a complete renewal of this area. In fact, we would like to create a building with a great quality, a beautiful building, a building that could launch this area for other important projects. Now we can say that the area, as you see in the right part of the slide, is changing, and Palazzo Lombardia has effectively given the chance to other important projects, and this area is now becoming a modern business district. We had a project for the creation of the fashion district. We have a new park of about 100,000 square meters. Coming to the aspect of the green in Palazzo Lombardia, another important item that we inserted in the manifesto that we wrote, including all the criteria. Mr. Cobb will explain in a more detailed way this and of course in a better English than mine this aspect. But I would like only to point out that as we would like to reflect our region in this building, we would like also to reflect our deep respect for the environmental themes. In our intentions, the new building had to be an example of the most advanced green practice in both design and operations. We choose technologically innovative solutions, and we would like to create a building that could be a model of eco-sustainable architecture. Which are these innovative technological solutions? Well, for example, active climate wall, photovoltaic cells, green roofs, heat pumps using underground water. We think that in Palazzo Lombardia there has to be a symbol of what we consider the environment, something to protect, but even a strategic resource. This is, for example, the purpose of the linear public park on the west side of Palazzo Lombardia. And in this linear public park, we try to have some symbols of the entire territory of the regions. For example, water pools are the symbols of our lakes. For example, tree-covered mounds represent the alpine foothills. And we put 9 large rocks as symbols of the beauty of our mountains, the Alps. For maybe one of the most important features that this project guarantee is the openness to the public. We would like to create a project that is open to the use of the public, that is not dedicated only to the administrative functions. In our idea, and we would like that this building guarantees a strong interaction, a strong link between the administrative functions of our public institution and cultural, representative, and leisure time functions. And we have, in 1 year, already organized a concert, air shows, auditorium performance, so that the building is now alive every time of the day, every day, during all over the year. We also had the chance to put inside the building a lot of artistic exhibition, maybe often organized by the young talents. Now, just a few words before ending my presentation about the old headquarters of Regione Lombardia, Palazzo Pirelli. Palazzo Pirelli was a skyscraper designed by Gio Ponti in 1956. And it was an historical building, and it was a building with a strong connection, a strong dialogue, a strong interaction with our new building. They are very, very close in the same area. Here you see the two buildings. It was not simple to leave the old building, which is very, very functional. But if you think that with Palazzo Lombardia we had the chance to put together the 3,000 employees of the regional government, with a cost saving of about 4 million euros a year, and with not going on renting more than 30 buildings for all of our function. You can say that you can see that the building is only a solution in terms of efficiency and cost saving. So here you see the image of the Palazzo Pirelli, the old headquarters, destroyed by an accident that occurred in 2002. And now the building has been completely restored, and it is the place of our regional council, the legislative body of our institution. Palazzo Lombardia today play a fundamental role in the city. There is a debate in Milan between those who believe that this building do not belong to the Italian tradition, and those who appreciate this experiment. What can I say is that Milan, as I have already explained, has other experiences of tall buildings, for example, Pirelli skyscraper and even Torre Velasca. And that Milan is now changing, and in the near future, the city could have a skyline like this. But it's important for us to point out that our project, that our solution is not important for us only for the view that we have for the 39th floor. Here you see the last floor of the Palazzo Lombardia. It's important because it is a way to leave an area, a city, more livable, and it's a way that in which we tried to give the city someone to better improve its condition, and to offer some place to the citizens to meet the administration and to meet together. Thank you for your attention.
Good afternoon. In this aerial view of Milan, we see the site of Palazzo Lombardia in relation to the key monuments mentioned by Mr. Pacca. As he pointed out, the site is located some distance from the city's historic center in a long neglected district that is nonetheless remarkably well served by public transport, and therefore well suited to the current program of sustainable urban regeneration in which Palazzo Lombardia plays a central role. The rather disordered arrangement of neighboring residential buildings is the natural result of a confluence of unrelated street grids with none achieving clear primacy. The challenge then was to envision on this oddly shaped urban site a work of architecture that could provide nearly 90,000 square meters of floor area above grade, while also shaping attractive public spaces and fitting comfortably into a neighborhood of mid-rise buildings. We began by imagining a podium structure comprising sinuous interweaving strands of linear office space, 7 to 9 stories high, whose modest scale relates well to the adjoining residential neighborhood, while their curvilinear forms make reference here in the heart of the city to the mountains, valleys, and rivers of Lombardy. Although seemingly random, these strands are actually the highly disciplined products of a geometric order made up of 22 circles arranged to form 11 intersecting rings. Fragmentary arcs embedded in 2 of these intersecting rings then rise to form a slender bifurcated tower. At a height of 161 meters, the tower contributes an emblematic presence on the skyline that is explicitly complementary to the neighboring Pirelli Tower, heretofore the tallest building in Italy. Whereas the form of Gioponti's great work is singular, convex, and closed, the new tower engages it in conversation with a form that is dual, concave, and open. While the former meets the ground as a solid shaft, the latter virtually dissolves into the curvilinear strands of the podium below. Let's look for a moment more closely at this tower shaped by intersecting arcs. Its upper floors comfortably house the offices and reception rooms of the president and other senior executives of the Lombardy regional government, while its lower floors, just above the podium, are dedicated to conference and reception rooms. 9 floors above the street, a major transition occurs from the exceptionally small tower floor plate of just 1,120 square meters to the podium floor plate of 12,500 square meters, surely among the largest of any office building in the world, where we can see now that the interweaving strands are responsive not only to the urban condition of the site, but also to our clients' need for space that is exceptionally flexible and hence readily adaptable to the evolving organizational structure of the regional government it will house. This view shows how the tower rises naturally from the interweaving strands of the podium, and how the podium in turn meets the street, with the end walls clad in stone so as to fit in harmoniously with neighboring residential buildings. I am especially fond of the stone employed in these walls, which is called ceppo. It is quarried only in the Lombardy region and can be seen in many notable Milanese buildings, such as Muzio's Ca' Brutta and Portalupi's Villa Necchi. Isolating now a section of the podium building to take a closer look at the interior, we can see that the 14-meter wide office floors are consistently laid out with smaller private offices along the concave sides and larger group workplaces along the convex side. At each point of inflection in the curvilinear strands, a spiral stair facilitates circulation between floors, and at each point of contact between 2 strands, there is an entry lobby flanked by elevators and service spaces. Looking once more at the entire 12,500 square meter floor plate, we can see how, in addition to providing clear and convenient points of access for staff and the general public, these circulatory elements also create almost limitless flexibility for rearrangement of government departments over the life of the building. On the right, we see one of the open spaces shaped by the interweaving strands of the podium office floors. And here we see how the stone end walls dramatize the encounter between those strands and the surrounding city streets. It's also worth noting that our design concept made it possible for the hold-out apartment house to remain in place without compromising the functional and architectural integrity of Palazzo Lombardia. As a committed environmentalist, President Formigoni was insistent that Palazzo Lombardia incorporate the most advanced green practices in both design and operation. Sustainable features visible from the exterior include large areas of green roof on the podium and an array of photovoltaic panels embedded in the south-facing glass walls of the tower, all the way from top to bottom. But of course, many important green building elements, such as the heat pumps using underground water, remain hidden from view. And I sometimes think this is a pity, as these works of engineering are often quite beautiful. In terms of its influence on the architecture of Palazzo Lombardia, by far the most significant green building feature is the active climate wall enclosing the curvilinear faces of the office floors in both podium and tower. 1 meter wide cavities between the inner and outer layers of glass houses retractable vertical blinds that rotate to provide shade from the sun while maximizing transparency of the building envelope. As the detailed section shows, air is drawn from the interior into this cavity, from which it is then recirculated with the addition of fresh air, a system that provides exceptionally effective and energy-efficient climate control for the office spaces and their occupants in all seasons. Exemplary as it is of green building practices, Palazzo Lombardia equally embodies the regional government's commitment to social as well as ecological sustainability in contemporary urban development. To fulfill this commitment, a central public open space, Piazza Città di Lombardia, is sheltered by a transparent ETFE roof so as to be habitable in all weathers and all seasons. This major gathering place, made memorable by the curvilinear walls that enclose it, is open at ground level in all directions to the surrounding city, from which it invites entry through generous landscape passages shaped by the curvilinear strands of the podium. Complementing this permeability, the ground floor of the building is enlivened with shops, restaurants, galleries, and a large auditorium. The piazza, which is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, has already proved hospitable to a great variety of activities, as Mr. Pacca mentioned, be they ceremonial, celebratory, athletic, promotional, cultural, or simply casual. Finally, if we now place the ground floor plan of Palazzo Lombardia into its larger urban context, we can see how the concept of interweaving strands has sponsored a formally coherent transition from tower above to podium below, and thence to the sequence of street-level open spaces that join the central piazza seamlessly to the city around it. The transfiguration thus accomplished, from emblematic object on the skyline to emblematic space at street level, is, in my view, the most important contribution offered by Palazzo Lombardia to the advancement of critical thinking about tall buildings in the urban habitat. Thank you for your attention.